Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we have a very exciting video where we are going to talk about 4 reasons to start collecting houseplants in 2024, or if you already do collect houseplants, these are 4 reasons to keep collecting houseplants in 2024. The first reason to start collecting houseplants in 2024 or continue is that it's a wholesome hobby. It helps you to slow down and appreciate the little things. It teaches you so much about instant gratification and how that is just not really a thing in most parts of life, especially houseplants. I have several plants in my collection that I've had since the beginning, and it has been a true joy of my life to see them growing and changing year to year, looking at them and all of the changes and growth that they've had, all of the different pots that they've lived in, all of the different places that I have lived in with them. It's just so special to share a relationship with your plants in that way. I really enjoy just sitting quietly while I'm taking care of my plants. But I also enjoy a moment where I'm listening to a book or a podcast, but it basically is just like adult quiet time. Feel the obligation to be doing a ton of things and be hyperactive, because houseplants really just need you to stand in one spot and water them, repot them, and take care of them. It's a wholesome hobby and it'll get you to just sort of step outside of yourself and slow down a bit as you watch them grow and change and sort of observe all of the little things that they do. The second reason to start collecting plants or keep collecting plants in 2024 is that adult learning is really, really important and beneficial. There's so many different species of plants, so many different pests, so many different types of leaves, growth habits, different types of pots. I feel like houseplants is one of those hobbies that is like a gateway hobby. So once you start collecting plants, you're gonna start collecting pottery and you're gonna be looking at your pottery and you're gonna be thinking, wow, I feel like I could make this. And then you join a pottery class, which is what I did. And then you see all these macrame hangers and you think to yourself, I think I could make those. And then you pick up macrame. And there's just so many offshoot hobbies that can come from this alone that, I don't know, I just really think it promotes adult learning, which, as I said, is super, super important for not only brain health, but overall health. I mean, there's tons of statistics out there that talk about how continuing to learn as an adult helps us in so many ways. What do we have in our lives that is outside of ourselves and our families and our jobs? Honestly, not much for most people. And while that's totally fine, I think that houseplants is a really wonderful addition to your life if you are finding yourself kind of wondering well, what now? What am I gonna do? Or what is the purpose of my life? Why am I here? Houseplants are a really great way to instill some purpose in your life, some direction, to just give us something to be interested in. Honestly, I feel like in times in my life when I was really kind of down in the dumps and dealing with depression and things like that, it was really easy for me to just fold into myself and not really be curious about things or really care about anything besides how I was feeling. And houseplants have always helped me get pulled out of that kind of a hole because, I'd learned something new about them and then it would make me curious about so many other things. And so with that, I've picked up many other hobbies connected to plants, gardening being one of them. Gardening is a really, really wonderful knowledge activity, but physical activity. There's lots of physicality involved in gardening as well, and it'll keep you young. You can get pretty fixated on one species of plant and just go totally down the rabbit hole and learn everything there is to know about them. Endless wealth of knowledge for adult learning. The third reason to start collecting houseplants in 2024 or continue is to get you back into community. So this is actually one of the #1 reasons why I started collecting houseplants in the first place. And the houseplant community is so incredibly sweet. I talked about it a little bit in the first point. Honestly, I really believe that if you know someone who also likes plants, they're a very specific type of person. And I don't want to get too far into that because that connects to another point. But there are so many wonderful people who own houseplants or garden or anything like that who are super generous and willing to share their plants with you, willing to share their knowledge with you, or just sit and talk about plants with you. I feel like anytime somebody finds out that I have plants, it then becomes almost an hour conversation every single time. There's lots of community events surrounding plants, both online and offline. Plant swaps or just general seed exchanges. My friend took me to a sort of seed exchange thing at this guy's house, and I came home with a huge bag of perennial seeds, and it was so genuinely pleasant to be there with him because he was just talking so much about all of the plants in his yard and where he got all of these seeds and just why he loves growing them. And now I have a little piece of that. And now when they grow, I'll think of him. And it's just a really sweet thing to see, you know, like cuttings from friends or propagations growing in your personal collection, knowing where they came from and the story that they hold. The joy of seeing someone else's joy receiving a plant that they really have always wanted or really love. It's honestly like the best feeling in the world. So I love doing that. I love the plant community. Something as simple as commenting on a YouTube video of your favorite plant creator fosters community, because then other people will see your comment and be able to help you or encourage you or just see it and know that they're not alone. There's so many ways to be in houseplant community, and honestly online has been the biggest way that I have been a part of houseplant community. There's definitely a good group of other plant people that I've kept up with throughout my years of owning houseplants, and it's just really cool to see how everybody's collections sort of change and grow. And in the same way, it's also cool to see how my plant friends' lives have changed and grown. And we've gone through several life stages, it feels like, at this point. Like when I started this channel, I was freshly engaged, and now I've been married for a while and I have a baby. Like that's just so crazy to think how much my life has changed since I started collecting houseplants, and how there's been several people throughout that whole process who have been along the ride with me, not only for my plants, but also for just general life things too. And the last reason to start collecting houseplants in 2024 or continue is that biophilic design is on the rise. Okay, so this is a recent thing that I saw on a TikTok. Actually, it was an interior designer talking about the interior design trends that are in for 2024. And one of the things that she said was biophilic design, which is basically, in very, very simple terms, marrying the indoors and the outdoors. It's bringing the outdoors inside and creating like a natural vibe. So that could be as simple as using natural materials like wood and leather, and it can be as grand as having a big houseplant display such as mine. Any way that you want to shape that up for yourself is awesome. If you are a person who likes to stay on design trends, well, here's your reason to start a plant collection, because it is on the rise. I definitely have specific design, I don't know what it would be. I guess like design philosophies that I really enjoy. This room is definitely more on the boho side, but I also really, really love mid-century modern. But the thing that marries all of these design choices together is that plants look good in all of them. I have a series on my channel that is different houseplant interior design styles. So far I've done boho, and then I did a more like witchy vibe for the Halloween season, which you definitely don't have to only decorate like that for Halloween, but it was a little bit more of like a darker, moodier vibe. And just those two alone, those videos had a lot of people being like, yeah, I really loved a lot of the elements of these design styles. It's a really cool way to sort of marry the indoors and the outdoors. And now that I have a name for this design style, this biophilic interior design, I'm obsessed, and I think that's exactly what my style is. It's just like any way that I can bring the natural parts of nature. It's all natural if it's nature, but any way that I can bring the outside in, I love to do. I love being outside. I love the feeling of the green and the fresh and the wood and all of those types of things, and being able to have that in my home has truly been transformative for me. This room alone has like the best vibes out of every room in my home, I have to say. Like anytime people come over, we just gravitate to being in this room. And I feel like it's subconscious for a lot of people, but for me, it's obviously intentional because I've created this space. But people just gravitate to be in this room in the morning when they're drinking coffee or when we're just chatting. We usually end up in this room. And I feel like there's a reason for that. And as I said, subconsciously, I think it's like a nature thing, like we are drawn to nature. So if you are also drawn to nature, if you find yourself cooped up inside quite a bit, if you live in the city, or even if you live in the country like me, I still love having the indoors reflect the outdoors. It's just so special to have so much green inside, especially in the winter time. It is wild to see outside be like barren and then inside be so lush and beautiful. It's such a wonderful contrast, and it really helps with things like seasonal depression and stuff like that. So that's like a bonus. Number 5, seasonal depression is not as bad for me when I have this greenery indoors. So still deal with it quite a bit, but having something to care for and something to do and seeing that greenery through winter helps me so much. So if you are going to continue collecting houseplants in 2024, I want you to write a comment down below telling me why. And then if you're going to start, I hope that this video was helpful to inspire you to do it. I have a ton of beginner type of videos on my channel. I will link a couple of them down below, like some beginner houseplant tips, some things I wish I knew at the beginning, stuff like that. I've made a ton of videos like that, and I would love for you to use them as a resource as you enter into this new chapter in your life. I'm so excited to have you here. If you are new, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you see all of my future videos about houseplant care. I love chatting with you guys in the comments, so I can't wait to see what you guys say down there. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.